The 360 is one of my all-time favorite tricks. I absolutely love it. And why is that? Well, because you can do it in the streets. You can do it dirt. You can do it park, vert. You can do it absolutely anywhere. It is a great foundational trick to learn as a beginner, so you can start doing 360 expos, 360 X-ups, 360 tables, 360 bar spins, or truck drivers. It's just a great trick to learn. Make me a deal. If you get any value out of today's video, you'll hit that like and subscribe button. Also, comment down below any other tricks you would like me to teach you next, or any advice, further assistance that you need on the 360. I also actually have a BMX class, and it's called the Fast Pass BMX class. It's designed to absolutely just slash the learning curve. Learn another trick BMX, and then link them together, right? So instead of you've learned the one-hander, you learn the X-up, to go, boom, you immediately make a course, everything I've learned in the past 5 to 7 years, putting that into one package for you guys to not only teach you how to get really good really fast with BMX growth hacks, but also, how to buy a bike, the right bikes to buy, good equipment, tools, safety gear, riding attire, shoes, the good shoes to get the best bang for your buck with BMX. So if you want to get really good, really fast, invest in your career, invest in your passion, invest in BMX by clicking that link in the description, checking out, signing up, and joining the class. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been a lot of time, just basically, I don't know of any other product like this. Anyway, let's get into the tutorial. So the 360, you're gonna have to be able to, hopefully watch my bunny hop. Hopefully you watch the 180, because you're going to have to be able to 180, and you're going to have to be able to 180 high and comfortably. So if you haven't mastered your high 180s, then I would not, I wouldn't even bother with this trick yet. So I also recommend learning this flat, because in theory, if you learn a trick flat, that is the hardest form of a trick, right? So, doing it out of a bank, you have more time than if you were to do it flat. Excuse me. Doing it fly out, you have even more time. So I recommend learning these tricks flat, but not a bar spin. Learn bar spin fly out. We'll get into that in that tutorial. Anyway, step number 1 is to carve. Now, you might be thinking more rotation, more carve than the 180. And if you remember in the 180 tutorial, I said 45 degrees. So in other words, here is you riding in a straight line. Here is 90 degrees. Here is 45 degrees. So for a 180, you're going to carve and then pull up at that 45 degrees. So in theory, hey, we're spinning more, we're going to carve more. That's just simply not true. And I always emphasize in these tutorials, it's all about form, not muscle. If you're small, young, weak, fat, whatever, it's all form. Let that give you a little peace of mind that you'll be able to do any of these tricks that I'm going to teach you how to do in this series. So whenever you do a 360, you're only going to carve 45 degrees just like the 180. Because, if you're carving 90, you're just going to kind of be sideways, and it's going to be 270, you're going to fall over, it's going to be weird. So the whole thing is that's why I said I wanted you to get perfected at a high 180. So you're comfortable with it, you understand it. So that is step number 1, is the carve. Step number 2 is to pull up. Now, I always say you don't want to pull up way too hard. This trick is an exception. In the 180s and the bunny hops, I always said, you don't want to pull up and jump too hard because you're going to lose control. It's going to be bad. You're going to pull your back. It's just focus on the form. This, we're kind of moving up a notch. We're kind of, getting into a higher level of trick here. So not only you're going to have to master the form, so that way, you can do it the right way properly, but you are going to have to muscle up a little bit. Not as much as you may think, because you can start with kind of doing those pivots, the 270 pivots, the 180 pivots, whatever you want to call them. But then eventually you're going to get the full 360. So you're going to want to pull up like a regular bunny hop, regular 180, except you're going to give it a little bit more juice. Now, I don't care if you got to go drink a Bang. I don't care if you got to go get some Airhead sour strips. Whatever you got it, or a line of cocaine. I don't care what you do to get hyped up. You just got to get hyped up. You got to be in the right headspace, and you got to muscle it up. So this one, you might have to pull pretty hard, right? But keep in mind, don't let that distract you from the fact that you need to master the form. The third step, and I emphasize this greatly in all my spin trick tutorials, is turning your head. Little trick, turn not just your head, but your shoulders and torso. Because here's the thing, think about this, think about turning like that. How much power does that have versus your whole body? You're going to rotate twice as easier if you do your whole body. So think about this, instead of like that, you're gonna go everything, and then you're gonna be able to turn your head even further, right? So that is a little hack right there. That BMX course is full of those little things. So if you haven't signed up for that, I greatly would recommend it. Anyway, yeah, sure, you have to turn your whole upper body, but the thing is you have to keep it turned. Keep it turned. Stare at it. So basically, in other words, let's say I did a 360 and I'm coming back around. I'm going to keep my head turned, and I'm going to stare at my landing. So you have to keep it turned. That's just as important as turning it initially. Keep your head turned the whole time and stare at your landing and unwind. Most people's issues is not turning their head and their upper body. And then the last step would be to land it. But the thing is when you're doing a 360, there's so much going on so fast. You're just going to kind of flop on the ground and just land. And that's pretty much how it's going to be. But I will give you a little bit of a tip how to make them look prettier, because you might be wanting to do a dip 360. So all you got to do is you're going to have to give it a little bit extra hop. So you're going to do the same thing you're doing, except instead of looking over your shoulder, you're going to look under your shoulder. Because if you pull up like that, you're going to kind of do that pencil style 360. But if you carve and you pull up and you look under your shoulder, your front tire is going to kind of go down. So in addition to your front tire going down, if you suck up your back legs, just all you got to do is suck them up, carve, look under, suck up your back legs. You're going to kind of pivot way around, not pivot, but float around and land perfectly. I'll throw in a couple video examples and a nice slow-mo example of a dip 360, but it's the same exact trick, but I like to give it a little bit extra pull because I'm adding some extra details in there. Look under your shoulder and then suck those back legs up as much as possible, and you're going to have your weight shifted a little bit forward. Obviously, don't do a nollie 360, but you can see in the video examples. So that is how you get the dip 360 look. Now, we're going to talk about how to 360 higher. Now, you're going to have to master the regular hop 3, right? Master the regular hop 3. And to get it higher, oddly enough, you're not going to be focusing on pulling harder. Sure, you will have to pull a little bit harder, but the height, the crazy dipped look, the Brad Sims level hop 360s, yeah, he's a buff guy. Yeah, he's pulling hard, but it's mostly your form. If you get the perfect balance of carve, pull, weight distribution, so looking under your shoulder and sucking your legs up to maximize your clearance, you will be able to 360 higher than your best friend who can bench press the same amount of you, the same size and weighs the same as you, but you're going to be able to 360 twice as high. He's going to be like, what the heck? And you're going to be like, I watched Greyson's tutorial and took his course. That's why I'm so much better than you. You nerd. Anyway, but think about it like a video game, moving from level 1 to 2. To go from level 1 to 2, you're going to, you get kills, get XP, unlock camos, rank up. So you're going to be level 1, and then when you're ready for level 2, that's when you're going to move on. You're not going to immediately move on right out of the gate, right? You're going to have to sit doing a hop 360 with a pivot for a little while. Okay, I've mastered that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm ready for the next level, which is the dip 360. Okay, cool. Now I'm ready to start 360ing off of things, right? So you got to think about it like a video game. Rank up. Don't learn to pivot 360, then go run off a 4-foot ledge. You're just going to get hurt. It's going to be scary. It's going to take you a lot of run-ups. Just get comfortable with it. Quality over quantity. Take the time to learn this properly. Learn the steps. Learn your comfort zone and your skill level. Really analyze it. Master the form. And you will be doing beautiful hop 360s faster than anybody else. Now, here are some things to avoid. Number 1 is yoinking too hard. Maybe you're carving and you're just pulling up way too hard and you're looping out and you're falling off or you're jumping and your feet are coming off and you're getting shitters. Like I always say, it's all form. There is muscle involved, but it is mostly form. You want to avoid, kind of pushing your muscles past their limits and risk getting injured in bad form. Then, of course, I said don't move too quickly. You're going to want to master level 1, which is the pivot 360. Then you're going to master level 2, which is kind of getting the dipped look. Master level number 3, which is doing it off of things. And then number 4 is over things and off of things, right? So do not move too fast to risk getting injured and prolonging your BMX progression. And of course, the last thing to avoid is not turning your head. I cannot emphasize that enough. You have to keep your entire body turned the whole time. So let's say I just did the 180, and I'm coming back around the last 180 in the 360, and I'm coming around, I'm looking, and I unwind and I stare at my landing. Stare at your landing. Most people, they'll start it and they stop. So that is the biggest problem people face with learning any spin trick, not just 360s. So a bit of advice that I always tell everybody in all my tutorials is I highly recommend if you are screwing up a trick, if you're screwing up a certain part of the trick, like you're pivoting or you're not getting all the way around, or the carve is screwed up and you're falling off sideways, whatever it might be, have your friend, family member, tripod, whatever, get a foam, film it in slow-mo, watch it, analyze what part goes wrong, what step I gave you. You know, was it the carve, is it the pull up, is it the turning your head? Analyze what the problem is, what section it is, what step it is, come back to this video and then either correct it immediately or watch that part of the video, watch that section and correct it, and then you'll be on your way after that. If you got any value out of today's video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below any other videos you would like me to make next, other how-tos and stuff like that. And also, check out the Fast Pass BMX class. It is an awesome course. You guys are going to get so good so fast. You're going to have the dankest bikes with the least amount of money. You're going to have the coolest shoes and the clothes and everything in the game. So, greatly appreciated. I will see you guys in the next tutorial.